Yeah, why don't we start? I'm going to call the meeting to order at 11:07, and President are Bill McGowan, Wayne Sawchuk, Paul Kears, and Carol Rowe. And we are here to talk about a capital item for the plant. So Scott, just for the record, can you give us just a quick thumbnail of what you need? And I think it's the capital cost is $77.50. Is that correct?
So it'll either be 77.50 or it'll be 16.5. Because we were hoping to do two. So we came in Monday. We lost the heat in the control room. So no heat back there where the guys are, and all of our equipment is. So luckily we kind of lucked out a little bit this week that it got warm. We did get proactive though. We went out and we purchased a small heater that we're gonna hang up there until we can, so at least we can have some heat back there until we can get this situated. But so what you have is a quote for one heater, one mini split in the back room. Mini split, it's heat AC in the back room. One unit will be $87.50. But we would also like to change the one that's in the lab, current lab, because that one's not working as well. So if we just do one, it's $87.50. If we do two, it's $1,000 discount because they're already here. It'll be $16.5 to do the two.
And I mean, I don't know the price of heaters, but it sounds a little high. But I mean, are these electric, obviously, and wall mounted?
Yes. Yep. They're both electric. Both can either be wall mounted or ceiling hung.
So they're not gas heaters?
They're not gas heaters, no.
Wow.
They're replacement for the in-kind electrical heaters, but what Scott's quoting is also it's a mini split, so it's also the air conditioning or the cooling that you need in the summer, which gets so hot in that room it's tripping out all your VFDs and equipment.
What is the size of it? Is it a 2-ton, 3-ton? What is it?
I'm gonna look it up.
If I grab my quote real quick, I can tell you.
I'm almost there, Scott.
Are you talking about a freestanding heating and cooling, like a carrier unit or something?
Yeah, there'll be one unit outside, and then there'll be a unit in the wall up above or in the ceiling. And they're very economical and
Correct. Correct.
It's not a bad price installed because he's going to have to do electric over to it,
and his lead time is instant. He said, "You give me the approval, I'll come down the next day." So they have everything; they're ready to go. Yeah, that's
well. I haven't seen the financials in a while, but I know that we should have 16.5 in there.
Oh yeah, one way or the other we do.
Yeah. Yeah, we're collecting fees over the next 20 years that would cover these anyway, so I'm not too worried about that part of it. So
right, so this thing comes
really
as far as like
no, it doesn't. I'm going through it as well.
Yeah.
This has an outside condenser and then an inside unit itself. Is that how it is comprised?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of, I mean, in my own opinion, I don't see a lot of debate. And I think if we don't have any more to discuss, I'd make a motion to approve the purchase of it.
I second.
Is there any other ones there that it's kind of sketchy, or is this it?
As far as other quotes for heaters?
No, I'm talking about the other areas that you're talking about just that computer room now, right?
You're talking the computer room and the lab up front, the influent building.
Yeah. Is there any other area that needs to be?
Well, yeah. Besides the treatment building itself doesn't need heat. We have heat in there, but the treatment building does need some ventilation. The ongoing ventilation issue.
Okay.
which we kind of tried to get this guy to, but they're kind of too, that was too big of a job for them. They
Yep.
weren't interested in quoting anything for that.
Yeah.
As far as, I mean, there really isn't any other building, but I mean, my trailer has plenty of heat.
Okay.
You know, it's just the influent building and the control room.
Controls, yeah, where the
All right.
Now,
electrical.
what do you have in the trailer?
The trailer's just electric baseboard heat.
And no air conditioning?
We have air conditioning as well, yes.
The window is, okay.
Just
Because,
a portable install, Wayne,
yeah, okay,
home-owned residential one.
right, because these units are made in, single room, 2 rooms, 3 rooms, 4 rooms, 5 rooms, 6 rooms and stuff like that off of one condenser and just use the units and the ceiling stuff. But where you want to put them is too far apart for them to be connected, right? So one's on with electric is and the other one is at the near your trailer. So I think that it's not a
So
bad
this,
today's market, and we need it, and it's very economical.
okay, so there's no other areas of need. Then
No.
I'll second that motion that Bill had then to go ahead and approve them.
Okay, why don't we do a roll call vote for the approval of the expense to get the 2 heating cooling units? Bill McGowan, aye.
Paul Kearsai,
Wayne Sawchuck, aye.
I want to see him on Monday. All right, I'll be by.
I'm calling him as soon as we hang up.
All right, now will you guys invoice us or does he invoice us? How will that happen?
He'll end up invoicing us.
Okay,
And then, depending on where you would like it to hit, I mean, we could just code it to the maintenance account. We can, I'm sure Rob could probably come up with some other places to put it if the maintenance count wasn't where you wanted it.
there should be a capital expense from you guys in addition to maintenance, because
yeah, I think
I want to
it's-
track that. We
yeah.
need to track that we replaced the air conditioning units,
yeah,
rather
it
than
almost should
regular
be-
ongoing maintenance.
It almost should be I was thinking of separating it and you guys billing us directly so that we can track it as a capital item, which brings up another thing for the board is we're gonna have to go over the capital list. Carol sent out a letter from somebody, I don't remember who sent it, but we have to get our capital plan together, so.
That was from Michelle.
Michelle, okay, so I mean, we're gonna need, Woodard to tell us what you need, and then we're gonna have to put it into a capital plan. They want a 10-year capital plan going out again.
Scott and I updated the majority of it 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just got to be cleaned up. It's in 2 different tabs and different colors and stuff. I plan on doing that Monday or Tuesday.
Do you have the rotation of the membranes in there?
I think so. Yeah, I think we do.
Okay.
I have to look.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go in and see Michelle on Monday and find out what's going on with the whole thing with the, I mean, it's gone cold and I'm not happy about that. And I think the more that we are quiet, the more they're gonna think that's not, we're acquiescing to the solution and we're that's it. We need to get Attorney Holland or somebody else for that matter on this thing pretty damn quick.
Yeah.
And
it's
Bill,
pretty
you gonna
critical
sign the
that
warrant on
forward.
Monday?
Yeah, if I get by, I mean, I might be out of the town, but I don't know yet, but if I'm here, I will sign it, yeah.
Okay.
So going back to the heater, everybody, do you want me to open up a capital? Well, we have a capital phase that's open, I think. Do you want me to open up a separate task in the capital specifically for the heaters? Then what'll happen is we could just run it through and then we'll invoice you separately.
Yeah, I think it's best if we have a way that we can identify it specifically for this one event with 2 specific items.
Okay.
I just don't want, I mean, you've got a lot of people who watch all these things and I don't want them to think there's any funny business going on. So I want it to be, as clear cut as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, so if that way works with you, I think that would, I don't know, Wayne, Paul, you have any comments to that? I mean,
No,
Will
we just
be-
need to know, we need to, identify that we're purchasing this replacement heating system.
Yep,
And then we need to track any preventive maintenance and what the life cycle is for it. If it's only going to be good for 5 or 7 years, we need to know that and then placed again, so.
yeah, well, that's something we can then, something like that, we put on the 10-year capital plan.
They'll easily 10 years minimum. I've had some that have been on for 15 years that are just, because it's a new product, so they didn't go back too far. So you can't, like, you won't have someone say that they last 20 years because they haven't been out for 20 years.
Yeah.
They've certainly been out long enough to be very, very economical and nice, easy to use.
Perfect.
Everything else good other than that?
Now, what about when are we going to sign the something to do with the membranes? Because it seems like we may be holding off on that. And
Well, yeah, that was my point, Wayne, with Attorney Holland. He's been in some case, and so we've tried to set up calls with him that haven't occurred. So I'd like to do something next week so we all can sit down, the board and him, and then Woodard and Curran, and say, okay, no, what are we doing here? What's our next step? I just think silence is going to be met with just indifference on their part. They're going to say, well, these guys have forgotten about it. And so,
Right.
And
It
you
must
got-
not be that bad of a situation. if
yeah,
we're not
exactly
talking
right. Yeah,
about
maybe they
this.
fixed it
I
and
feel the
they
same
don't
way.
need us anymore, And
Right. A sense of urgency a little bit. So
no, there's none. And that's what,
we need, I mean, right. The worst thing is if something now fails and someone says, why didn't we, you knew that it was going to fail and you knew this and you knew this and you knew this, why didn't you do anything? And we have been doing things, but we want to close it out.
That would be great. It's a critical path forward.
yeah, we have to, it just has to happen. A call has to happen next week, period.
The
So
attorney-
I have sent a text into Michelle, what time was good for her on Monday. So I'll let you know once I know.
Hey, in that capital budget for the next 10 years, you put a double wide in there for yourself?
For the office?
That's another story for another time. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. There are many things we would like to put on
Yeah,
that.
I've been waiting for the door in the cabin to fall off for like 8 years now.
You and me both.
the big double doors, you mean?
No. This is in the cabin, in the porta cabin thing. That door always, every time I open, I'm afraid it's going to just come off in my hand. So
Oh.
All right, well, we can talk about the creature conference after Christmas, I guess.
yeah, exactly right. All right, well, I'll be back to you guys. Thank you, but I'll be back to you about a session with Attorney Holland as soon as I know from Michelle.
Okay.
Yeah, and just so all you guys know, Monday and Tuesday from now and before I leave for vacation, probably Monday and Tuesday, I'm gonna summarize 2 documents. One will be the extension, which would need a signature for an enactment, and I'm gonna do something similar to the neighboring projects where it just explains the extension budgetary considerations. I'll list out, what we actively have going, such as the membranes, some of the I&I stuff. Are you guys all aware that you're Brian and Montana are working on a resiliency grant, which
No.
we actually, Town of Commission the town of Cohasset was awarded a substantial grant for resiliency. Brian would give you better details.
Oh, is this on the flooding? Is this the flooding?
Yeah.
resiliency? Okay.
Yeah, so
I do
one
know
of
about
the
it. Yeah.
one of the things was to lift the generator, but that only elevated at like 0.01 feet or something. And don't hold me to that number. It was minimal in a 150-year flood or something. So we convinced them that'd be much more beneficial to everybody to do the the design of all the electrical in the facility, where the conduits are all rotted out and they're in water and stuff. So that'll be part of the project. And if I understand it correctly, it's also lining of all the pipes in the marsh and elevating and sealing of the manholes. So it's a really good project that's moving forward.
Hmm.
And Brian could give you the best details. Brian's working on our side. Peter's working with Brian.
Right. I think they did a good job now on Elm Street of putting waterproofing the manhole covers and stuff. So that was something, I don't know, he had leftover money or whether we're spending something a little in advance. But that was important, I think.
Yep.
And there are a lot of other manholes like going through the marsh that really have to be rechecked also.
Yeah, I want to say within that grant they're going to raise them all, Wayne.
Oh,
There's
really?
like 14 of them, I think.
Which,
Give or take, yeah, it might be a couple less than that, but
Yeah,
yeah, I believe that's part of the project as well.
it is raise and seal into them.
Yep.
Watertight cover. So there's a lot of things, a lot of good things going on, but there's also a lot going on, that we
Yeah.
got to address.
All right, we can check with Brian to see what's on his list.
and I made a comment the other day to someone that maybe to Carol or something, that our contract with Hull is up in 4 years, and 4 years goes by very quickly, and we really should come up to whether we're going to do something on Hull Street to put it, to put another line at Hull Street and have it go into our collection system. Is it, any and all things that we got to look forward about what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the regional kind of stopped, right? The discussions with the regional.
Yeah, regional, I think for a variety of reasons. One is that the town of Cohasset and the town of Situate are throwing, legal grenades at each other right now. So
Okay.
I think that's not going to happen. But it doesn't preclude the fact that we should have a safety valve. God forbid something happens to our membranes. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
So if we can get another pipe to Hull, and I don't, Wayne, is this what you're thinking about? Like just have like something that if we need it, we have it type of thing?
Yeah.
And we have a bunch of people that want to connect all of a sudden. We've got several developments and, I know Dan said we have plenty of capacity, but do we really have it? I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with him. I'm just thinking, okay, we have one set of membranes that really isn't working.
Right. You do
We
have
have a
allocation
capacity to have
left.
like another 12 or 15 homes right now, and then Jerusalem Road Estates is rearing its head again. I mean, they're starting to come back. And at one point, I think there were, and Wayne, you probably know better, was there 25 houses going on up there? Oh, he didn't like the question.
Yeah, I heard the same.
It just came back.
I don't know that they could fit up there because this is that estate is over towards the Greek church, right? That part.
It's in back of Black Rock Road, I think Diab. It's up in that area, up on the hill.
Oh,
Like,
okay. So it is the one across from Katie Dugan's place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I heard there was one that was farther down where they could put up about 8 or 10 more. They've already put, where the old cemetery is, we go up the hill when we march up there for Memorial Day. They had already put 3 or 4 homes up there. I don't know if they were expanding that.
Oh, is that in Hull though, or is that in Cohasset?
That's it's technically Jerusalem Road address.
Oh,
You go all the way up the hill, it just keeps going past this cemetery. It's right directly across the street from the Greek church.
Huh.
You go up straight up the hill. That's all Atlantic Ave or Jerusalem Road addresses all the way up.
And one thing that's not considered in the calculations for unaccounted flows, there's that elevated pressure. Scott's going to have to help me. The elevated pressure on that low diameter force main that Brian was working with Rosanna Davis and Scott on a plan to take care of. So we have been discharged into Hull pending that resolution. And
Mhm.
Scott helped me more with the.
Yeah, no,
Flex-
I mean, you
Please.
got it. We back in June when we had the issue when I came in, we lost North Cohasset, all was going into overpressure. We turned that valve when we opened up the valve to Hull again. And since then we are still putting a considerable number to Hull that's not being factored into any of the numbers that Dan was looking at. I mean, I know it's only 6 months, but we are, you're still talking a considerable amount of our flow is going to Hull right now.
Carol, can you put this subject on the next agenda, please?
For Wednesday? Or the following meeting?
If that's when the next meeting is, yes.
Okay.
What was the property? Do you remember to make it easier?
It's called Jerusalem Road Estates, I believe is what they're calling it. And it's off of Black Rock Road. Several of the homes will back up to that. Some of them will back up. This is going way back. I mean, what do you think, Wayne? Was it 6 or 8 years ago that it was around? I mean, it's been a while ago. Yeah, I don't remember myself.
And recently you were out there, right, Scott, with Brian?
Yeah, so Brian, I, and Paul Davis went out, and we're just kind of waiting on Brian to come up with a plan of how he wants. So right now what we have is we have the flow going to Hull because we still have a blockage somewhere that we still have not been able to come up with how to fix it or even identify where it is. So when Paul Davis, Brian, and I went out there, we kind of game planned a little bit on what Brian wants us to do. But we're waiting on Brian to send the exact plan on how he wants, because we want to try to, we know approximately where it is, but now we want to, pinpoint it before because we're obviously going to have to dig up the road and we're going to have to do some digging to figure this out. So kind of just waiting on Brian to come up with his plan of how he wants to go about this. But I just want to throw it out there that again, we're still, we're talking about flow and we're still sending a good number to Hull that eventually we're going to have to send back this way.
So
But
Carol,
yeah,
can you make sure that Brian is available for that meeting?
Sure.
All right. Well, anything else we need to discuss, guys? No,
That's all it was on the agenda.
that's all right. All right, well,
Yeah,
I'll make a
I'll put-
motion to
I'll-
adjourn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I'll put together that package and I'll make sure it's available when's the next meeting, Carol?
Wednesday.
Okay, I'll make sure it's done in for your review.
You want to invite one of the Davises to participate in it? We know that they're probably the ones that are going to do it. They may have some.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, you, what do you think?
yeah, well, Paul's kind of on the side of as soon as you guys figure out what you want me to do, just let me know and I'll come and do
all
it.
right.
Yeah, because we had him out on Jones for like a couple hours a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, he's ready to go. He knows what we want. We just got to tell him let's do it, and he's good to go. So yeah, I wouldn't even bother unless you want to talk to him. Then by all means.
Do you have a price from him?
No, not until we know exactly what we're doing.
A lot?
Again, it might not be depending on if we can. Well,
I thought you sent cameras down there, and then I thought we did pressure testing to kind of.
See, the problem is we have no real place to put a camera. That's the problem right now. So that's what we're trying before we dig up the ground and put a hole in somewhere. We're going to try to strategically run some pumps, some grinder pumps, and see if they go into back pressure. If they go into overpressure, excuse me, then we know that that's where it's right there. If we can go house to house, a couple problems we have is a couple of those houses, there's nobody there anymore. They're for sale. Nobody's using any water. So now we're going to have to bring water in to the grinder pump to add water to it. I know it's like, Mrs. Barrett's like 156 Jerusalem or something. She, that house has been for sale for years. So there's just nobody there. And that's one of the houses we have to use.
Okay.
So there are some issues that we have to get around, but We can certainly do it. I just need direction from somebody on what exactly you
Yeah.
want me to do. That's all.
Too bad you couldn't like ultrasound the pipes or something and see what's inside of them.
Yeah, again, without digging them up, it's tough.
Yeah.
I thought
No,
there was some
it-
type of flushing valve provision that Brian was looking
So we
into.
did find the flushing valve. Unfortunately, it's on the side that we feel does not have the blockage. So
No dye test you can do?
that's part of it. Yep, that's one avenue to go. We really want to do the grinder pumps because that's the easiest non-invasive way of just trying to pinpoint where it is. If we can run
Yeah.
a pump and say, yep, and then we can reverse the flow, we can reverse it, make it go back the other way and say, okay, it works that way, but not this way. Now we know exactly
Okay.
where it is, and then we can dig and go from there.
Seems like an intuitive process.
It has been, yes.
Yeah. So, you know, cumbersome, but I think I don't think you have very many options there other than get the grinder pump out and start going from house to house.
That's probably what we're looking at. And if we can, sooner the better, obviously, before it starts to freeze and be cold and
Yeah.
we're out there working. That'll only make the price go up.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to adjourn again.
Second,
All right, we'll do a roll call. Bill McGowan, aye.
Paul Kearsai.
Wayne Sawchuck, aye. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you very much.
And have a good weekend.
Thanks.
You
You
as
guys
well.
as well. Thank you very much.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.
Mm.